It's Real and Raw with This is Lynn Serrano, and I got the dancing guy next door. What's your name, though?
I'm Brian.
Hi, Brian. Hi, Brian. It's Friday. It's Friday.
What are you doing? I'm dancing.
Well, you should leave that for the bar tomorrow night.
No, I'm going to have to stretch a little bit more. Otherwise, I might pull something.
Oh, we don't want that. Hey, Tammy.
Tammy's here. Hey.
See you, Tammy. It's been a while. Oh, that's not Tammy Storm. That's my other friend, Tammy. I thought it was Tammy Storm, but I saw it real quick.
You get many Tammys in your life.
I know. Tammy, Tracy's, all sorts of people. So, you got anything going on this weekend?
I'm going to the bar.
You going to Bubba's bar? Yeah. There we go. Tomorrow night.
Are you stalking me again?
Yeah, I'm so Facebook stalking you again. Stalking you. That's what I call it. Stalking you.
And well.
Oh, so we're going to talk about that's it, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I did have it in there before. I don't know why I showed you that other question then. I don't know.
Just put relationships in for no.
No, what?
Hold on. Just keep talking.
Okay. Wait, did this not save before? Don't mind me, you guys.
That's it. Relationships and likability. Yep. That's it.
It is it? Okay.
Put relationship in front of it, or likability in front of it.
Oh, likability, and then how you feel.
Yep.
Okay, you see, we're being live, but this is just how we talk. So, whoops. So this is just how we talk. So don't mind us. Go ahead, Brian. You stall.
I can do that. So we'd like to welcome everybody. If you've been following on this journey, it started. Let's see here. This is going to be the end of the second week, I believe it is, where we've been diving in about relationships, and I just need to make sure because, this is the second full week coming to an end, all about relationships, and it's such a big topic that we're taking our time with it, but also though we want the engagement and excitement, and the biggest thing is that if this information helps you, our viewers, we thank you all that tune in regularly, along with everybody that checks this out in a replay. We're truly grateful for your viewership, and we're taking our time with this subject because it's so important and there's so many layers of it. And, as you can see that we're real and raw, and sometimes we don't have notes, and, we don't have a script. We're just flying by the seat of our pants, or maybe you're not wearing pants.
Yeah. Relationships are really important. And matter of fact, I remember Tammy I've known from doing my lingerie parties. So she knows I know how to deal with couples and relationships. That's my expertise for a long time. So, but likability, how you feel, what leads you from like to trust, that could be a long journey in a relationship, especially starting out.
But here's the thing is that it's a conceptual thing, but I think it's not like I do these things or here it's a linear thing.
Mm-hmm.
It could take years, it could take weeks, like if we look at it in relationships of couples that get engaged, or the minute that they meet to the minute that they get engaged, sometimes it's a couple months, and then other times it's many years, and so, but it's like those two milestones, that you may not say, but it's how you feel. It's like, okay, once I establish that I like this person and I want to get to know them more, but then when it takes it to a trust factor, to me, there is no measure about how long or short it takes. It's just that when you get to that point, it's kind of like a stamp of approval where it's like, wow, this person's really showing up in my world in a way that is deeper and maybe more long-term than what it was before,
right.
So to dive into that, as far as, Lynn, you giving your thoughts and whatnot, because it's such a conceptual thing, because it's not like you can put it on a map or on a calendar I'm going to trust this person today.
Well, I mean, naturally, I try to trust people right away to a degree of trust, a degree that if they say, good example. Like I said, hey, let's do a show. And you're like, okay, I'll trust that he's going to show up. Maybe he's not going to show up. Maybe he's only going to show up for a week. I mean, like you got, there's that little bit of give and take, it's that little draw a line in the sand, put this here. Oh, he came over this way, I mean, like it's gotta be the little things that you trust first, and those little trust things can build up to, wow, I really trust that person. I love that person. I respect that person. With trust comes respect. You got to respect that they're of integrity. The integrity is huge in that, which we spoke about yesterday. You have the integrity with that person. You can truly try to trust their words, because trusting words and actually actions are two different things.
Correct.
So with that being said, it takes the actions of the words and the integrity to, you did this in a very analytical way that I can really appreciate and articulate, that it's so pertinent to build these, bricks in a foundation with a relationship, because if you don't have these things, it'll crumble just as fast as you built whatever you built.
Like do you see like in your brain how you're wired, that it's like, okay, that it's like, okay, it's like if you look at it on a horizontal, like landscape, it's like, okay, you've got from when you met somebody, then there's likability, and then down the road there's trust. You know what I mean?
Pillars.
And there's different pillars, and it's like, whatever that gap in between those two is, if it ever happens, that's what we're speaking about today. And it's such a fascinating thing, because it could potentially be different for everybody because of their definition of likability, trust, and their experiences in life. Well,
like when you're building a house, I mean, you have those I'll figure it out, because I grew up in construction with my dad. But you've got the sheetrock, and you're not going to go ahead and not find a stud,
right?
Because what's going to happen if you just put that in the sheetrock? It ain't going to stay up there very long. I mean, you need to have that, the foundation. I mean, without that concrete foundation there, truly test of time. And I mean, it's very critical. Well, it's critical at any point, but especially to begin with, because if you F that up, oh man, it just takes walking around and going, oh, this is a loose floorboard over here. It's ain't gonna be good.
Whoa. What do we got going on here? Are you speaking about Bubba's basement again?
Yeah.
Loose floorboards? Are you speaking about his basement?
Yeah. Hey, at least they invite us over.
At least he made us clean up so we could get free liquor.
Yeah.
Do that.
Well, I took that bottle from his place. I have to bring it back.
Yeah, just don't show us now, otherwise we'll wonder about you even more.
It's still the same. So there.
Well, I'm just saying though, like in the past, it's like, hey, let me show you. Oh. Are you sure that you're not sleeping out in Bubba's backyard or something? That it's just right there?
I know. It ain't right. You're gonna have to trust me on this one.
Yeah. Don't I always? Don't I always?
Yeah.
Was that a wink?
Yeah, that was a wink.
So in your mind, Lynn, just in a concise way, just a few things, like, what is that gap for you of relationships in your life? And you could take it anywhere you want, but like what things, what things describe that gap? Like if you want to pinpoint a couple of relationships in your life, but like what are like, to go from likability to trust is this, and this. What would be a couple of those things for you?
Gosh. I'm not putting this in any kind of order or anything like that.
No.
But as far as, it really is when you're sharing, when you both can trust each other to share your life experiences.
Okay.
You're trusting that person's not judging you from your past,
right,
but that respects that you're being vulnerable and honest. And the trust is that, I'm not telling you this so you could start writing my own, what is it, unauthorized biography about me.
I wouldn't do that.
Oh shit.
Is this being recorded?
Yeah, it is. As a matter of fact.
Oh,
But no, seriously. But seriously, the trust is basically building that foundation of having that person understand where you're coming from, and not that you're bringing baggage, because you're bringing baggage if it's going to impede your current relationship.
right.
But as far as mannerisms or degrees of, if you're an only child or you come from a big family, I mean, just understanding why somebody's so hyper to talk to you because maybe they didn't get to talk when they were younger. At least that's what happened in my life.
Right.
But I mean, just having that trust and foundation to say, look, this is who I am, this is where I've been, this is where I am now. There's got to be a trust that that's not going to change the relationship. I've heard people not be forward in their relationship to begin with, and then all of a sudden they hear a story about something in that person's past, and they feel like that person didn't trust them, or that might make or break them, or whatever. Like I've seen stupid things like young couples, and I mean, because I worked with a lot of couples and coached them, some of them don't say that they were married before. Well, gee, you don't think you're going to find that out in the courthouse? Whatever. Or if you had kids or this or that. I mean, stuff that if you would just be honest and because if it's inevitable that it's going to come out, wouldn't you like to just take bring the laundry out, see if it's, where it stays, and take it from there? Because seriously, I think not having that trust to discuss, and I mean, we're not talking the freaking first date, okay, people? Let's just get that, let's get that going. But if you do have that likability for the trust needs to be there as far as sharing what kind of relationships you had,
right,
and having the non-judgment part of that, and to know if you still respect or care about that person. Some people are so freaking judgy. Now, good example, like if you are in a relationship with somebody or you're starting to date them and you say, this is how it was in my marriage or whatever, and it might be trigger for something for them in their marriage that they had before or something, or relationship or whatever, and all of a sudden you're going to judge that past relationship when you're both in a new relationship. I mean, there's got to be trust that you're going to do better. Both of you are going to do better from your previous relationship. And that you trust that these pet peeves that you both don't like will be respected and moving forward. I don't know.
Okay.
And what about you?
Well, number one for me is consistency. It's like every day that goes by from the, from liking that person, there's somebody new in your life, there's something curious about them. It's something out of the ordinary of everyday life. Okay. So you're inspired by that. And every day that goes by, it's like, what is this going to look like? It's kind of like going down a path you've never been before, or do something you've never done, like if you go to a park and there's a path, you never know who you're going to run into or walk by, what you're going to see. And so the consistency of it is that, like you said, it's the small things.
Right.
You may not be able to describe what those are, but I think if we look at every day, it's kind of like, I don't know, getting in better shape or any of these other things that, you can't get good at playing any sports or whatever just by, okay, I'm ready.
Oh man.
You gotta, you do, just like live streaming, let's just like this right here, for us to be present with you and just be in the moment with all of you. That's a skill that we're honing for you guys right now. We're improvising with each other. We don't know what each other's going to say. We don't know what you're going to comment on, but it's a skill that we hone. And so, but you do it consistently. And then all of a sudden, if you come at it from a humble point of view, you don't even know what you're doing. And then people talk about it and they like it and whatnot, but you're just doing what you're doing. It doesn't mean you're naive or narcissistic. You're just doing your thing and things happen,
And not only that, what I do love is what we do now. What most people should do is they should live right for this moment, for right every one moment. It is just like if they're sitting here watching us or even on the replay, they should be engaged with us right in the moment in the thoughts that we're trying to provoke in their minds for their own, special growth, or their own special growth. Their own growth.
I think that in my opinion, I think that's impossible to do.
To be always in the moment.
To always be present. Like
Well,
what we should say somebody does is what we're perceiving them to do, but do they perceive the same thing?
right. But what I'm saying is if you can try to exercise being present, being in the moment, you get more out of a conversation. Like, it's sad to say, people in relationships, they really don't listen. Like, if I'm sitting here and going, oh my gosh, I got to go pick up my granddaughter a certain time, and I got to go do this, and I got a show tonight. If I'm thinking all these things, I'm missing out right now being with you.
Absolutely.
This could be our last show. One of us something could happen to both of us. That's what I'm saying as far as being present. In the conversation, try to be more mindful about being in the conversation and what that conversation makes you think about. How do you feel about it now? Don't how do you feel about what we're talking about, and how can you see it in a new perspective? Don't let it be a trigger from something in the past that you're not looking at somehow different now.
You triggered a memory that I had with somebody of my past. And I remember being at the dinner table one night, and I made dinner because she got home late, or she gets home later in the evening rather. And she was always on her phone. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Like when you're working all day and whatnot, you're not able to respond to people. But I'm like, now that I look back on it, I'm like, wow, we don't really have much time together anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Dinner is one of those ways where you should connect and whatnot, and you put, excuse me, the tech away, right?
Right.
And no matter what I did, I know I mentioned it a few times, but I definitely was not, I didn't have the balls to just like, here's the reasons why you can put that away and be firm
Right.
with it, right?
Right.
Versus just kind of like being like a little sapling in the wind where I don't want to disrupt the flow. I don't want to disrupt things. And you triggered that out of me. And I'm like, wow, how, say whatever it is. I mean, but just that behavior alone, without even having a thought about how you're making that other person feel or how disrespectful that might be, whatever that is, if somebody were to take that person's point of view about the recipient or victim of that, would they actually do it themselves?
Right.
Probably not. And if
Right.
they would, well, then there's for issues to overcome.
Yeah, there's indications that obviously there was not the priority in the relationship. That's what I mean, the perspective of it. And that's totally true. And I know that I was guilty at times when I wasn't happy with my ex-boyfriend. Oh, you'd see me on the phone at different times because I'm checked out. I'm like, I can't deal with the fact that I'm dealing with somebody that's not listening to me. So I'm like, okay, I'll show you I'm not listening to you by being on my phone. But there was always times that I was always being very respectful and not being on my phone. But again, the different perception there is that if he was watching TV, I wasn't interested in he's watching TV. Don't be mad at me if I'm on my phone, because it doesn't matter. I'm sitting next to you. You're watching that and I'm doing this. I mean, what? But, I don't see. But if you're not watching TV, and I shouldn't be on the phone. And if we're connecting this way.
Well, and
So,
I think it's also about, it's also about setting those
boundaries and expectations.
those boundaries. And it's like, especially like it does get challenging. Like I can work from at any time and on any day. Right. And there's a possibility that of somebody that has never been self-employed, they don't know what that is.
Right.
That if I don't work, I don't get things done. It's not like I punch a clock. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And if you don't do the work, you don't get paid. Well, my work is here now. And a majority of the work is actually the pre-work. Right. It's the marketing and everything else with running a business. It's not the time you're on stage. It's not what we're delivering in front of you guys right now. It's all the other stuff about what are we going to talk about and showing up, And so that became a non-negotiable for me really quick, that I'm like, if somebody can't put their phone down for 30 minutes to have dinner together when our time is limited anyway,
Yeah.
Maybe
That's a
this isn't
sign.
right. Yeah.
Here's your sign.
Well, and plus, now that I look back on it, it's just like, wow, somebody is so consumed with a habit that they'll live and die by. And hey, that's cool if that's your world.
Yeah.
But the issue is that they don't want to take any ownership of it. And
Right.
that's a toxic place to be in, because even if you delicately present it to somebody like that, they're probably going to want to make you wrong or walk away or whatever because you're attacking them.
Well, there's a book that's called They're Not That Into You, is
Yeah,
basically what I'd say.
sure.
Because, that's one thing I did like about long distance relationships. For me, it was always nice because I feel like that should be the quality time when we're together, period. That should be like, every first date, where you're just spending that time, the few days you got or whatever. And if you don't have that level, then they're not into you. I mean, that's how I
Well,
look at it.
and the crazy part about it is that, in my opinion, anyways, is that habit is created over something that is not certain, or like, what do you get out of being on your phone when we're at dinner?
Right.
Well, and usually it's for nothing. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing about it. The habit is what overcomes everything.
Right.
It's not like there's anything tangible that they're getting besides that they train their brain that this is what I do here in this space.
But again, they just weren't into you. Because if they were into you, they'd be like, I'm spending time with my man, and that's it. That's priority.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's the sign of that in a relationship. And when you see those things happening in your relationship, you need to figure it out or get out.
Right.
I mean, don't waste your time. I'm 55. I've wasted enough time in my
Well,
life.
I'll tell you one more piece of this is that at the tail end, one of the things that we didn't do very much was it's just
Aww.
what did Jerry say? Keep
Aw,
putting up the wisdom. Yeah, thanks, Jerry.
Jerry,
I'll
I
as
love
I'm
you.
as I'm on the road today, I'll be catching your show with Lynn and your wife, Cheryl, right? I think it's Cheryl.
Yes,
Yeah.
Cheryl. Yep.
I'll be catching your show today. And Jerry, every word that I shared, um, I mean it, because I think the conversation was when you were talking about Jeffrey and working with him in depth, that was the trigger for me to be like, wow, I'm putting this all together. So I see you as somebody that I learn best from, just because you've been there, and you don't really know who's listening or whatever, but I've been taking notes.
Brian, he said on my show, he says, sometimes I think people don't, I don't know how people take me. So for everybody to speak, that touched him really deeply because he had no idea. So,
Awesome.
and thank you again, my partner, for doing that.
Of
Because,
course, I'm grateful
yeah,
for the opportunity, and
yeah.
I tried to be as concise as possible with being direct,
Oh,
and I'm glad it did, Jerry. I mean every word from my heart to yours. So
I know. I just love him. Gosh, we are so blessed, Brian. We are so blessed.
and I love it when Jerry. One more thing is that I love it even like on our distinctive story workshop. Is that when Jerry's on the microphone and he's talking, it's like, okay, I'm holding on. Like, if I got a table or something, it's like, what is he gonna bring that's just gonna,
You know what? We should have him on this show someday. Get real raw about a topic. Let him rip.
I'm gonna have to find a seatbelt and like strap it on. Like I'll go to a salvage yard and, hey, can I buy a seatbelt? I need to.
Brian, I think we made some brownie points with him. We'll be okay. I just feel bad for everybody else.
Yeah. Oh, word is here for us. We don't.
Oh my gosh.
No.
Thank you for stopping by, Jerry. I told him how much it means to us when he leaves a message for us, how much that truly means for us. And I told him how he was on my mind. He was on my mind, and I didn't even know what was going on with him. So yeah, I said to him, I was going to do that on my show anyways with him. I said, but you just happen to have a heart attack on top of me having you on my show. So don't think I did it because of your heart attack. I was going to do it anyways. You just freaked us out.
And Jerry, one thing that it's been instilled to me, and a couple of days ago when we had the show about talking about the stories of people regarding likability, every single person that was on there except for one, the first one, Matt, one of my mentors when I was in 8th grade, I reached out to them and I shared the link for the show, and you're one of those people to me now, because they were to me back then and there when they didn't see what I had or what I was doing or how I was showing up in the world, and so you're one of those people for me now that it's like, wow, if he's doing that stuff right, if he's been doing that stuff with all this training and development, it's like, wow, I'm just blessed to, be on that track, or to be like, wow, if he's getting that stuff where he's at and I'm on that journey now, I'm just blessed to be in that space.
And I told him, I said, what feels really great is just knowing that you and I have friends that are there for us. We don't need to use that as leverage or anything, but just to know they're there, it gives me personal great comfort. I mean, that's all I need. Because I'm like, I'm going to be smart and say, before I ask Jerry this question, because I know it's not in a course. No, just kidding. I want to, we talked about that at our show too. But no, I want to be able to say, I know that I can go to Jerry for anything, and and vice versa. I told him he can come right to me too.
One more thing, Jerry, is that when you share on our coaching calls and whatnot, I love it because, Ken never knows what you're going to do. So it's all like, boom, live. Here we go.
So yeah, it's great. And this is just it, you guys. When you build these relationships and you trust each other, and you can be playful and yet have a good heart and be there for each other. I mean, if you guys didn't see my show before, Jerry is somebody that we were all in the same group, and it's just nice that when you say to the other people, hey, I'm having this person on a show, can you say some words about them? I mean, people step up, show up, and we support each other. And nothing better in this world than just knowing that you got people behind you. It makes all the difference in the world. It really does. And just like our audience being here, I just love every one of them for being here. Yeah. Sandy, who's always here. I mean, we're blessed.
Mm-hmm. So then to continue on the things for me, number 2, so we had consistency being number 1, to go from likability to trust. Number 2 is character. Mm-hmm. Does their heart match up with what comes out of their mouth through their use of language? Right. Whatever that is. I mean, when you combine consistency with character, you're going to get, you're going to see what, if it's true or not.
Right.
And I've said this before in previous shows, is that if somebody says that they're going to do something, I take them at their word, but then all of a sudden I'll type their name in, if I'm not friends on social, whatever, and see if they've actually fulfilled upon that.
Right.
Because that's not something you say, it's something you do. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to get cliche and whatnot, but it's like, okay, it's not what you say, it's what you do. So, right. And so the character, are they the type of person that's willing to confront whatever it is, overcome it, and move on? Where is their heart? Is it a fly-by-night thing? Is it for the flavor of the day? Or is it like they are just consumed by so much integrity and respect, and whatever comes out of their mouth, there's just something about them that person's going to get it done.
Right. And that's what I mean, is people just got to realize in life, don't promise something you don't plan to keep. Right. Because the assume comes right in there, makes an ass of you and me. I mean, truly. And I don't usually give people many strikes on that. Okay. I mean, because if I give them the small things, like what time you're going to be there, or, you're going to have that done by when, so you can't do it today. I'll do it tomorrow by Wednesday. I mean, even in my lingerie business, I would do the parties on either Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. Mm-hmm. And I do the ordering on Sunday. And now, or on Monday, my orders would come in on Wednesday most of the time. Okay. I tell people I deliver it by Friday, because if it's late or, back ordered or whatever, nothing would piss me off to think I'm going to get it on Wednesday and the thing doesn't come, And I mean, I used to bowl too. So sometimes I promise people, I can't promise you, I might have your order before I go bowling, because I bowled 3 times a week back then. It was crazy. Wow. But, wow. I'd have people come to the bowling alley while I was bowling and pick up their orders or whatever, if I could do that. But if not, I would make sure that Thursday or Friday I would deliver before I did my other parties. So what I'm saying is I always like to give myself that wiggle area because, and then there was times, I hated back orders. I just hated when people had to wait for their stuff. That's not how I like to do business. So, again, it was just, if Lynn tells you a time, she's going to surprise you sooner. But and back orders, when I know something's back ordered and tell them it's back ordered, it's back ordered. I'm like, that could take 2 weeks, and they're like, it's okay. I'm like, that could take a month. It's okay. I really want that. Okay. And then I'm like, oh, it's here next week. Wow. Great. Again, I don't like to disappoint people. I truly don't. And it's not because I'm a pleaser. It's just because it's part of my integrity. It's my word.
In a another part of the character to me, like I really can't think of the exact words, but it's like they're scrappy. They're they
flaky.
They don't sugarcoat anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they don't really care what people think about them, but they don't make a big draw to themselves. They just do what they do and they show up, and more times than not, those are the people that just take notes. They show up, they do their thing, but they don't have a big aura about them. That's not their deal, right?
Yeah.
They would rather have whatever their expertise is or whatever their zone of genius is to show up, and anybody that's on their inner circle, if you will, they'll give everything to, and I think that when we move to the trust stage, or once somebody is deemed as trustworthy, they've shown up in such a way for however long that there's somebody deeper in your life,
right?
Until they screw it up or something happens or whatever, because obviously the amount of time it takes to just get the trust.
Yeah, it's that relationship capital. You know what I mean? It's building that capital and rapport. And it really is important, because then that's how you feel like someone, because you can trust them enough to say, hey, and I also like that, we can communicate, say, hey, this is going on or whatever before hindsight, having that hindsight or, like I'm one of those girls that if I had to go here or there, my granddaughter or something, I'd call you and say, hey, I might be late for the show. You know what I mean? Like I'll deal with the unforeseeable, if need be, but because you're just treating a person the way you should be treating yourself, and
I think another, oh, go ahead, Lynn.
No, go ahead.
I think another piece of that is that if you ever have to think to yourself, how is this person going to be around me today? Am I know what I'm walking into every day, that the person is just going to show up how I know them to be, or is it all over the place?
Yeah, no consistency. Yeah, I get that. Yeah. I mean, that sounds like it could be if you're dealing with a female, no pun intended. I'm a female too.
You are? You're a female?
I just don't get that timely thing, so I don't have to worry about it that way.
Lynn's a female.
Okay. What'd you think I was it?
That's for another show.
Ay, Dios mío.
Hey, we gotta have some way to have people tune in.
33 minutes and he's now trying to get me to blush.
So I'm not as good as I was yesterday because it was backstage.
Oh, anyhow, yeah.
So the third piece for me is that you're in touch with your heart, and to some people that may be cliche, but you're in touch with your heart, like to the core, to the deepest levels of who you know yourself is in the world.
Right.
When you're in touch with your heart, and it's like when somebody shows up in your world, it's just like, okay, there's probably consistencies, even though they're different people, the way they make you feel, the things that they do, maybe their backgrounds, how like-minded they are. There are things that align from people that go from likability to trust.
Yeah.
And it's like to be guided by your heart and what's in your gut. That's going to happen through the previous two, their character and their consistency.
Absolutely.
And it's like, but here's the thing. to be in touch with your heart is not just for relationships, it's for everything. It's how you live your life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just got out of a talk with a mastermind group I'm in, and I talked about who your customer is not. You know what I mean? A lot of people focus on, at least in the wedding industry, they focus on, who their customer is. And I'm not talking demographics and psychographics. I'm talking about their tendencies, their behaviors, Thanks for being here, Larry.
Hi, Larry.
Larry will be going nuts next Sunday or next weekend with Casey in the Super Bowl. So,
what happened with the Packers? They didn't make it, huh? That's right.
Okay, we don't need to talk about that. You don't know that? Come on.
Sorry.
Are you rubbing it in because I'm questioning if you're a woman or not?
No. That's not it. That's not it. Trying to think I was an it.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I think you're challenging me. You knew what was happening with that. Thank you.
Thank you. You rock, sir. I'm glad you got all those books. That's awesome.
So it's I was telling the group, I'm like, this is a point of view, but it's all deeply based on psychology. But it comes from a place of like, okay, how your customers or prospective customers show up, who they are not is more powerful than who they are. But a lot of people don't want to do an exercise like that. And and I'll bring this around here, but it has everything to do with how you feel. Are you empathizing with them? Is there an engagement? Is there a connection?
Yeah.
And if there's none of that, if you're just going after their money, or if all they think is that you're after their money, somewhere along that connection doesn't exist. There's no match there.
Well, that goes the same thing when somebody's hiring somebody for their company. And I mean, I used to hire people to do my lingerie business. Mm-hmm. And I got to a point where I just didn't hire anybody to help me with my business because they weren't they didn't have the compassion and understanding that I did, in a very delicate, relationships are very, very valuable. And not to think more of the customer than your own opinion. You don't give your own opinion. You see what they have and you try to help them out. So, I feel for those companies that just are trying to fill a body to be the cashier, and that cashier could care less. I'm not stereotypical here, but Home Depot, if a girl's, at the counter, she could care less about what kind, whether you got pine or oak or cherry stuff, she may not be the right one. If she's like, well, we don't have a nail polish department or lipstick department. She's just not the one. She's not the right one for your customer. And though, people think, oh, great personality, but you got to realize, are they passionate about what you are trying to personify for the company?
What are they there for? Are they there for a paycheck? Or are they there to?
Because you get paid $15 an hour, you just can't be there to collect. You got to be part of the,
So it's like when your heart tells you a lot, the more you get in touch with it. And, they always, that classic line that people buy for emotional reasons and then they justify it logically. I'm a firm believer in that, but I still think 2021 is that is conceptual to more people than it actually exists.
Yeah.
It's still conceptual because it's something like why people buy, and then you can get into, the understanding that they don't buy the steak, they buy the experience, they buy the sizzle, not the steak. This goes into a whole nother discussion about, techniques and whatnot.
Right.
But it's like when you show up as authentic, when you show up with your heart out there, from my experience, it's a place nobody goes or rarely go because people don't want to get hurt. They don't want to be vulnerable. They don't want to be transparent, and it's conceptual. How are they gonna feel based on, like if it's a B2C situation, right? I'm the seller and then the buyer. If they've never been treated that way before, how are they going to know? More than likely, they're going to go from a skepticism, oh my God, this person is showing up entirely different. They're going to more than likely come at it from a skeptic than they are an opportunity, or it's okay if I feel different about this.
Right.
So
Well, just like somebody doesn't need something, but then there tugs the string that, hey, this is for to support the kids, or St. Jude's, or this or that. Sometimes it's attached by a good deed or things like that. And then some people are like, I don't care about no kids, like I ain't giving no money to that. So
Well, and here's the thing, Lynn, you did, just by what I just said, and then in looking at our question for today, it just opened me up that this question is not just for relationships, personally. This is for business too, because it's like, okay, when you're working with a customer, if you own a business, or if you're in charge of accounts or whatever, is that to get the business, that's where it starts. That's where it starts. That's what got them in the door.
Right.
But
Right.
now you have to start fulfilling upon what you said they were going to get by doing business with you.
Right.
And I think that's where a lot of people fail, and then they're unfulfilled.
Well, good example. That's just like if you were able to purchase something and they don't have a refund if you're not happy. Well, you know what? They're not going to trust to buy something from you if what's going to the end result is their SOL when they buy it.
Well, and then we look at rest in peace, Tony Hsieh, the founder of Zappos, that was bought out by by Amazon several years ago, or a couple years ago, is that his mantra for his company was wow people and they'll come back. So simple. Market research, we got hundreds of people working on this or whatever. Wow people and they will return.
Yeah.
Or they'll buy again. And where I'm going with this is that there was several people that I know where somebody bought $800 worth of goods. They didn't like them. They told them to keep them and will refund your money. Right? Whenever you run, there was a lady that I think it was she lost her dog or lost a loved one. Okay. The next day, okay, she was buying shoes. You can get them anywhere, right? Zappos sent her fresh cut roses the day after on her doorstep.
Aww. Wow.
They sell shoes.
Mm-hmm.
And so when anybody says that they can't create an experience and they can't use their heart, they're not looking far enough.
Yeah, that's just like my other show. My heart is to let people know that they're loved and that I appreciate them. And anybody else that feels that about them, I bring that to the table. I mean, that's, I don't do it just for the wow factor. I do it because it comes from the heart, and that's, if you're going to do anything, especially have a business, I'm sad to see people that get into business. And then next thing you know, they're like bitching because they're so busy. I'm so busy and blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, isn't that a good thing? I mean, like you forget your passion to have one customer, two customers, pay your bills, have money in your bank. I mean, like, it's sad to see companies do that too, like they lost their passion and their mission. And then they lose the trust of their customers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's one more thing that came to mind, is that whenever I go someplace or whenever I witness that, I get the feeling that the company or the person I'm talking to has all the power. Like, I know Ritz-Carlton does something like this, but even if it's not on that level, where they have every single person has an allowance per day about making it right for a customer, right? Like, they have $1,000 maximum, like if it's vouchers, or get coffee if it's at a hotel. You know what I mean? It's like that simple gesture gets rid of drama, gets rid of bad reviews. And are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That simple gesture is between me returning and telling everybody about it, and what is it out of their pocket?
Yeah. We used to do that at the hotel too. I mean, if you weren't happy, we gave you a gift, and it's just saying, it's showing vulnerability and apologizing and showing you're human, and things happen sometimes, and relating to the customer, like, hey, I wouldn't want that to happen to me.
Well, and from my point of view, it's just like, okay, this can't be the first time that people have ever been disgruntled or weren't able to check in on time, or the room wasn't ready, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is nothing new. But they choose not to do anything about it.
Yeah.
And that's where the most skeptical in my opinion, that's where the most skeptical and disgruntled part of it comes, is because you can see what's not going right from a company, but they choose not to acknowledge it or be naive that they can change it, but they still want your money. Well, wait a minute. I can give you all my money if you do these things, and what is a $5 gift card to, it's amazing about just, it's not about the money. It's about the person being heard, right?
Right.
We've talked about that
Absolutely.
before, but also though that they're going to do +1. If you have, if you're not able to check into your room, hey, here's a couple free tickets for, for 2 free drinks, or, here's a 1-hour comp card for the internet, or here's,
Yeah.
get a muffin and whatnot. They already have it built in that if anything should happen, it's not like reinventing the wheel.
Right.
That's just like, man, this is so backwards that you don't do anything with somebody's upset. Or it's got to go to a survey or some convoluted thing versus taking care of it right then and there.
Yeah.
Take ownership of that,
Yeah. You just reminded me, I went to, what's it called? The Sonic, where they got you drive up.
Oh, Sonic, the restaurant?
The restaurant. Yeah. And my granddaughter and I were there, and the line was so long. I mean, I was only the second car in line, and I ordered my stuff 10 minutes before the happy hour thing. We waited 25 minutes after, and I said, so do we get our discount? No, because you were in line before. I said, yeah, 40 minutes. And they didn't care, which I didn't care, but it's like, she didn't get it. Like, I just brought it up like, well, can we get it now that we're finally up here for, I know you're real busy at 40. No. I'm like, okay. I just, it was just the mentality of where she was at. And I was like, okay, obviously you don't care and I don't care either, but okay.
Well, a couple of things to point out there is that the place you went to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's not, but you can't expect Ritz Carlton at that particular place.
Exactly.
That's number one.
Yeah.
And number two is that these people are not being paid to care.
Yeah.
They're being paid to go from A to B.
Yep. Yeah. No. Totally.
And it's like, that's why, there's some people in the marketplace that compare different places. Like, somebody that I know, Mark Hunter. So to give credit where credit's due, he's a sales guy. You can't take a Walmart customer and make them a Nordstrom shopper, I believe. It's something along those lines. And it's like, because they don't shop, their expectations at each of those places is different.
Yeah. Well, okay. I'm from Long Island, and I do have my little whatever. But yeah, my kids are all gonna be like, Mom. I'm like, yeah, but it's just the mentality. It's just a good gauge to just check to see where that employee is. Yep, they're just an hourly employee. Oh, I lost Brian again. Brian gets so excited. I think his computer just doesn't like it when he gets excited, and he just ends up popping out. So anyways, he's back. You get so excited, your computer, do you have your finger like in a zap thing? It checks your temperature or your blood pressure, and it goes, chip.
I'll tell you what, mind of its own.
I guess so. That's 2 days in a row.
I don't really know. But anyhow, I think that when we look at this from a business perspective, it's just like, okay, and I put no merit into surveys like from restaurants, because I will always ask them, I'm like, are you guys going to do anything about this if I take my time?
No.
And I'm like, well, then this is pointless. You might as well throw these in the garbage, because you're not going to do anything on here.
Yeah.
But there again, I think we're also, if we don't like our experiences there, we have a choice to go somewhere else.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, unless we love the food, or we love, like I know Sonic has, a plethora of different, like, ice cream.
I just like their onion rings.
Okay. I think also like, we also need to have like a little buffer, like really how much can we expect?
Yeah, that's true.
Because it's like, if somebody, let's just say that something like, I went to, a fast food place, and it's like, wow, they literally like rolled out the red carpet. I would think that they're shooting a movie or a commercial. uh, about how this place does business,
Yeah.
But here's the part. Since the bar is so low these days, and everything comes with some skepticism, or what are you going to make me do, or persuade me, or whatever, all of that manipulation type of technique, right? Imagine if somebody just shown up with authenticity, generosity, and just themselves, right?
Yeah.
Not assuming anything, whatever. Most people won't give you the time of day for that because it's opposite of what society is now.
Yeah.
And so
True.
by how society views people and whatever they know about them, that doesn't allow the person to be present, because a person has already made up meaning about who that person is or what they're going to say or whatever, without them even saying anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you've had a bad experiences at places, it's like, number one, you don't trust them, but number two, why do you go back?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, oh well, it just blows me away. It blows my doors off when it's like, well, if you don't like them but you contribute to going back there, aren't you still giving them your money and your
Yep. Yep.
so
Absolutely.
in summary, it's like, I think that for me, that likability to trust on a spectrum and on a scale is a huge thing, and it's up to each one of us to determine what that is.
Mhm.
I know this for a fact, though, is that once trust is established and it's deep, there's not anything those people won't do for you. Number one. Number two is that you better respect it with all your heart, because it's a coveted place to be.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
it's intangible, so it's you can't touch it or anything, and it's going to be different for everybody.
Well, and like you said, when to build trust once it's broken, good luck.
Right.
It ain't gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the times you don't get a chance to correct some of this. I mean, you should, and you should see, but I mean, you can only take so much when it's broken. There's always that, yeah, it's not a good place. You don't want to build that bank up. That's for sure.
I think that, like, if we look at relationships from like acquaintances, and like once we start defining it, it's kind of like a bullseye, that you throw darts at.
Mm-hmm.
The closer you get into the trust factors, closer to the bullseye, right? Because those are your core people. You've invested in the relationship. They know your ins and outs. There's not anything you couldn't tell these people. You know what's inside of their heart. When they're not being real and authentic.
Mm-hmm.
You can just see it on their face, because they have a proven track record about how they show up.
Right.
And they leave everything with that. That's their soul. That's their being. And it's a coveted place to be, because if somebody is going to give themselves fully, they're not going to do it with people they don't trust.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
So yeah, are you going to be thirsty tomorrow night?
I don't know, but I'm going to show up for a little bit. I know that we're going to have a lot of guests coming by, and I know that they're planning to come to the bar.
Oh, wow, what's this?
Yeah, going to come to the bar.
I guess I need to grab a bag and get on the road then. I gotta get to Bubba's place by tomorrow.
Gotta get to Bubba's place is right. But before Bubba's place, let me see.
He needs to answer his phone first. I don't know why he doesn't answer his phone when I call.
So for tomorrow's question?
Yeah, on Monday. So Monday,
Monday,
just something to think about. I mean, we're getting into the meat of this, and it's like, from like to trust. I think that it's such a pinnacle thing to go from one to the next. So
you say pinnacle?
I did pinnacle.
Oh, okay.
See what I did there? See what I did there?
That was good. Okay.
So in your life, what things move a person from like to trust? What is that for you? Because we're only sharing from our point of view, and everybody's coming at it differently, personally, professionally, what you've witnessed in life, all of that comes into this question we're encouraging you to take on or look for in your life. So the action step and question for Monday is in your life. Hi, Sharon. Thanks for being here.
Sharon, thanks for being here.
In your life, what things move a person from like to trust. You know, if you're married, what moved your girlfriend to your wife, right? I mean, this can be applied to anything, business relationships, partners, any of that. And
Absolutely.
it's in my opinion, now it's all conceptual, but to me, it's a big move from like to trust. It's kind of like going out with somebody, getting engaged, and then moving in like that. Those are steps,
Oh
and
yeah.
they don't just happen without a progression of action being taken.
Dude, you don't know the people I know, but we'll just leave that there alone.
That's our bar conversation. Let's leave with that
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll talk about that at the bar tomorrow.
The bar.
The bar. The
So
bar.
yes, we would like Lynn. You want to pop that up there for everybody?
Yes.
We'd like to have everybody join us tomorrow night. We're going to be with Bubba, and there's going to be a lot of chaos. And Lynn's going to drink a little bit more Pinnacle, and who knows where we're going to go, but it's going to be fun and lots of stories and joy. So we'd like to invite you all tomorrow night to be with us, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 o'clock Central, and 7 and then 6, depending on where you are, or overseas.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm pretty excited about that. I think Catherine Franco is going to stop by, and
Cool.
I'm doing my show tonight, first night with Catherine Franco, Bridget the Gap. And she's
Awesome.
got a girl that's doing, hi, Peter. Thanks for
Peter.
being here.
Hey.
My show tonight's going to be awesome. It's going to be called Bridging the Gap. We're going to have her mom do a mommy minute, and she's overcome cancer and has lupus. And we're having some girl that's actually coming out with her new song, and she's going to play it on our show. So it's pretty excited. They might even come to the bar tomorrow night and play it for us.
So Bubba will give them his address, but he won't give me his address. So I got to sit outside his house.
I don't know. I got to ask them if they can come over yet. Haven't even asked them yet. So don't get all ruffled up.
Well, I'm not even invited, but these women are just going to be there. Come on. This isn't fair. I'm sad now.
Oh, whatever.
Oh, that's how you really feel. Oh. Nobody likes me.
Oh, yeah, whatever. You are so loved. You have no idea.
I know.
All right, you guys.
I just want to see what you would do. That's all.
I know. I'll play you the little violin.
Yeah. Oh, pet the white bunny. Oh.
I see you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one, guys.
Tomorrow night. Bye, everyone.
Bye.